prayer. Go to the prayer, and then we will do our America visualization. So placing my hands on my heart, taking that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. So incredibly grateful to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to live the teachings of Jesus through A Course in Miracles. Grateful for our willingness to uncover and let fall away any and all blocks to love, allowing it to just drop back into the nothingness from which it came, knowing that only love is real. We are grateful for our mighty companions, our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they bless all who are here, all those who may listen later, that they give us insights, inspiration, and clarity during our time together today, that they help us to keep our hearts and minds opened to receive all the goodness. All the kingdom of heaven is ours right here, right now. And we're grateful to be able to share it and the love that we are with Mother Earth and all her beings, because we are one. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So remaining in this meditative state, we will go to our America visualization. So take a nice deep breath again. And we're focusing on projecting our collective energy out to around March of 2025, anywhere in America. Just visualizing, feeling the fresh air, hearing the birds singing, seeing people smiling, because everything went perfectly for the most beneficial outcome for the United States and the world regarding our presidential election. We are not merely seeing it, but we are feeling it with every cell, fiber, and function of our being. We are employing all of our senses. We are standing fully engaged in the precise situation that we wish to manifest. It is happening right now. It is real right now. As we look around, we're seeing everything is good. The pressure is off. Any worry is gone. We are centered and in our power without any fear, worry, or anything else. Take another nice deep breath and release this energy out into the world to be absorbed and to expand. Go ahead when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this now moment. So today we are in still chapter 2, right defense and release from fear. And we are talking about our experience with section 11, the basic conflict. And I'm just going to start us with the very first paragraph, where he says, you are willing to accept primarily what does not change your mind too much and leaves you free to leave it quite unguarded most of the time. You persist in believing that when you do not consciously watch your mind, it is unmindful. It is time to consider the whole world of the unconscious or unwatched mind. this will frighten you because it is the source of fright. You may look at it as a new theory of basic conflict, if you wish, which will not be entirely an intellectual approach, because I doubt if the truth will escape you entirely. And then in the note number 128, he says the basic conflict is a term emphasized by neo-Freudian Karen Horney, who saw it as the conflict between the opposed strategies of moving toward compliance, moving against aggression, and moving away from detachment. The basic conflict in Freudian thought, at least as identified by comments later in this section, is between the hedonistic id and the moralistic superego, a conflict mediated by the Freudian ego. The final part of this sentence is using intellectual approach to describe something you regard as abstractly true without considering that it may be personally true of you. And I thought that's really interesting because so many times I have caught myself believing that something is real or normal because it has been my experience, but it's not always the experience of other people. And I forget that part. So just because I know something to be true um, doesn't mean that everybody has that same thought, experience, or belief. It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make me wrong. It doesn't make me right. It doesn't make them right. It just means that we're all having that same, individual experience, even though we are all um, attempting to get to the same place where we are no longer believing in the separation. So anyhow, that's where I'm starting us off today. Anybody else? Penelope, go ahead.
Linda, could you give an example of that?
Well, I think probably the one that comes to my mind is how I seem to have an empathic sense of what people need, sometimes even before they realize it themselves. And I feel like others should have that same sense for me. Like my husband should know that I need to have peace and quiet right now, or my husband should know that I don't know, that I would need something, that I would prefer to have something or not have something right now. And um, just assuming that he can read my mind. and and just because and I'm not necessarily reading people's minds. I feel like I have this awareness of um, my surroundings, especially where it pertains to other people's needs, wants, and desires. And most of the time, I feel like I have a good sense of what it is that they would like or what would be helpful for them. And I just assume that everybody has that same experience, but it's not true. I feel like everybody could have that level of empathy, but I don't feel like what I have is special, I guess is what I'm saying. But I also don't feel like um, everybody is using that ability at any given moment. I don't know. Does that help at all?
Yeah, that's really helpful actually. And I can absolutely agree and resonate with a lot of what you're saying. And I do have a tendency to think, well, why can this person doesn't know whatever it might be if I'm already aware of something? So
Yeah,
yeah, there's a tendency to yeah. Thank you for that. It was
you're welcome.
wonderful.
It's also for me one of the ways that I kind of devalue my gifts and talents and abilities is to feel like because they come easy to me that they don't have value, which is absolutely not true.
Yeah, again, I can resonate to that, perhaps in a different way, where I don't honor almost and respect the ability or the talent, the kind of like the gift or the talent within some of this,
Yeah,
and can almost get into thinking, oh, like there's something not quite right with me, or there's something almost wrong with me, or something, because I don't, I'm not trusting enough of the ability and don't always, like I say, honor and respect it. So thank you for that as well.
yeah, you're welcome. Carla and then Nancy Gale.
I
There you
raised my hand, so um my sense is when things come easy, it seem like they come easy for you, that's because you're aligning more with your higher self. And when things are harder or whatever, that is the separate self, which is we call ego, right? So I'll just respond to that. But the first, man, it's interesting. I used to read this in an hour, but I cannot. I tried reading it, and what I noticed is I got really stuck on the first paragraph, and then I kept reading, and I thought I was open to it, but I was still kind of, I don't know, stuck is the right word, but I was still aligning more with the first paragraph, and so that seems to me that is a lot of life, you know. It's challenging in this sense, is it to, I think being enlightened, which I don't know if I'm right, but and it's probably an aspect, but is to be present every moment to the now moment. Yet we have to know how to tie our shoe or pay bills and do stuff. So the mind gets caught in thinking because that's what we it's variable. The ego is just a tool, right? And so we get caught, lost, whatever, in the thinking, and we forget to be present. But we're practicing that more so. And in a way, that's what the poetry is. I call it mine, but it's not. It's Is it me? Is it because me is the ego, right? The body. Yet I'm practicing. What I'm doing is I don't know how poems are going to end. And sometimes they don't really they're not the same, but sometimes they're very insightful. And I'm amazed because I didn't know. I didn't no idea how it was going to end. Isn't that, and that's what I do a lot was I get in a situation that seems like a situation I already experienced because you're talking about experience. And then the mind goes, oh yeah, I know what this is. And so what is it? What am I doing? I'm blocking the flow of life and thinking that I already know. And when I was after reading this first paragraph, it says, you're willing to accept primarily what does not change your mind too much and leaves it free. But thoughts come and thoughts go because we're part of the one mind, which is, I think, in a way, we can all have a sense if you need peace or time. I think we know that, but we've gotten lost in what we see instead of what we feel, because what we feel is just not that it's bad or wrong sometimes to feel that, but it's telling us that we've left love. And that's when we have a true sense of what is going on. But I mean, we're spirit happened in human experience, and that's who knows how long it's been going on. So I don't know if this is me clear, but this is what I wrote, and it's not a poem, but I'm gonna read it, okay? Because it's about thoughts come and thoughts go, but it's really what we believe. So that's what we need to be guarded, not about the thoughts, about our sense of peace. That's how we know that we're in the right mind, as this book says. So, at first, it seems apparent that we must constantly watch our mind. And that may seem true at first, but all we really need to do is change our beliefs. So if we have blue eyes and someone says, "Oh, I hate people with blue eyes," but I don't know, with brown eyes, sorry, with brown eyes, and I hate you, and you have blue eyes, you don't believe that there's any reason why they should hate and so it's our beliefs that we must not guard against, become aware of. So I'll finish reading. All we really need to do is change our beliefs. At first, thoughts will come that we accepted as true for quite a long time, but the more we shift to only desiring love, peace, truth, whatever you want to call it, whatever others choose, and that there are many times they will choose something unloving. We will notice the patterns. And it's really easy. It's like grooves they talk about grooves, neural grooves. And look, when I've seen pictures of the brain, there's actual grooves in the brain. Is that neural grooves? I don't know. But water, when it rains or whatever, it flows down the ruts, which is the neural groove. So it can be hard, challenging to change patterns because maybe people around us, they're comfortable with our pattern, the pattern we've had, and now we upset them, we cause something because we're choosing a new pattern, a new neural groove. Since we were one and we're all creating together, it is not hard, just new. Requires focus and intent. Presence, really. Being only in the moment. I think I explained this, I don't read this, but how we have to know certain things. Like we learn how to tie our shoe, how to drive the car, how to fill the gas, how to use the whatever, all those things. And then we forget to be present. Like, I'll give you an example, since you asked for example, Palpy. So I was going to, like 2 or 3 years ago, to the ATM machine to get money, and I had to be at a meeting. I wanted to be. A meeting was going to start in like 20 minutes. I was going to take 15 to get there or something. So I just enough time to, quickly get my money and go and whatever I was doing. And the mind goes, what if there's something wrong with the ATM and you can't do whatever? And it went on and on. I'm like, oh, I guess when it happens, I'll deal with it. And that's an example. So, I went to the ATM and, it was fine. I got my money, I got my food, I got the thing. Now I could have got lost in the what if, but somehow, whether it's belief or not, I was able to hold the presence. If it happens, I told my mind, I'll deal with it. I don't know what's going to happen. And this is an example, like how many times I used to go out and start my car and it'd start and we'd go someplace. And once in like, I don't know how many, 10,000 times, it didn't start one day. And my mind wanted to go into the story again. Another example of thinking about all, and I didn't. I sat in the car. I just sat there. I didn't do anything. I didn't run and call someone. I didn't, try to do anything. I just sat there and was present to what is. And I go, oh, maybe I won't go to the meeting today or whatever I was doing. Maybe I won't, maybe I won't. And so I was really accepting of that. And what happened? This is really interesting. I got the sense to start the car. And it started. Wow, it could be that we're creating our own, where things happen, and then we're creating our own reality by how the upset, the thinking. Our mind is powerful. It's often challenging because we want to say, win the lottery, play the lottery. I don't win the lottery, but we're not powerful. But we are powerful. There's 9 billion of us powerful entities, what do we call it, on the planet. So we're all creating together. So that's my sense of. I didn't get past like the 3rd or 4th paragraph. It's probably wonderful. I should read it, but it was fine. You know what was fun about it? I'm willing to be more present. And I was reading and I wasn't present to what was. And I'm interested in being present and noticing what the separate mind says and what truth I want to hold. I mean, sure, address the appearance. If your house is burning down, you call it a fire department. But hold the truth. And that's, I don't know when I created that. I don't know. I think it did good. So I am willing to address the appearance and not believe it. Hold the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Nancy Gale.
Carla, the last sentence is the, what do they call it? The pith, like the pit, what you wanted to say, exactly what you just said. I was I didn't get to read your whole poem that you on the WhatsApp thing, but I was just looking at it. The first thing my first thought when I haven't read all the way through this, and my first thought was, I remember when I was 2.5 and this incident with my brother. I remember I for some reason my brother was a newborn. I was 2.5, and for some reason I don't recall what the reason was, but I had not seen him for some reason. And I said, "Hey, well, let's like slept." I was in the bedroom. That's where I slept in the crib, and he was just outside the door in the corner in a bassinet. That's how close we were, but I had never seen him. So I went in the kitchen. I knew enough to go get my father's attention to take me in to see him. Was just around the corner. So I go in and my mom's in the sink and my father's standing there just talk. I pulled on his trousers to get on this little thing. And it's like a couple times it comes fine. He takes my hand, turns around, and he says, "Can't you see she's angry?" And pushes me away. And I went right back to that as soon as you stopped. And I said, I was supposed to know what he was thinking. How is a 2.5-year-old supposed to know what they're thinking and what's going on? That's the first thing that came to me. And I remember that. It's like, okay, I did the right thing. It's up to me now. But that was what came to me. And I thought, it's like when you started talking about what people you think and other people think, and you don't know. And I said, oh my gosh, that's how I started my life. And so I have developed, it's like, that's where from that point on, it was like, I have to be very careful. I have to know, I have to watch and observe and know. So that when I have to respond, I have all the information I need to do that right perfectly without making another mistake. So that's kind of like where the perfection comes from and everything and all that. So anyway, I'm done. Seriously, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how we kept ourselves safe. I mean, that's how I developed I know my family always told me that I was always super sensitive. Like I felt deeply. I would get angry easily. I would, be ecstatic, joyful. I would be like drama queen sad. But I know that I was already like a highly sensitive person from the time that I can't even remember. But I know that I nurtured it and developed it because I needed those senses to feel safe.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Thank you. Right.
It was a trauma response.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of the ways that I can be grateful for how I grew up and the experiences that I had when I was little, even though they were hard and scary, because it's made me who I am today. Penelope and I are in a book group where we're reading the What Happened to You. And
Oh, really? Okay.
there's a test in there. It's called the ACE test. I don't remember what it's all about, but it's like 10 questions. And we all took the test or answered the questions or whatever, and then shared the numbers that we got. And the majority of the people in the group, their ACE numbers which kind of related to the number of traumatic experiences they had in their lives, were between 3 and 5. Mine was 8 out of 10. And so I looked at that and I was like, I'm grateful because I was at a point where I was like, wasn't feeling like I was especially wrong or bad or broken or damaged. I just looked at it like I had all of those experiences so that I could do what I'm doing now. You know, teaching and counseling people. I have so much more insights and compassion because I've been through all those things. So it really is a way that I have fully accepted the everything is truly helpful teaching. So yeah.
Jennifer said something like that. Just like a few weeks back, she was something and she about herself, and she said she made the same statement.
Yeah.
And I said, I remember 20 years ago, and I was in the bed, laying in bed, and then just thinking about all the things and the ways I relate to people. I said, finally, and all the things, the trauma things. And I remember saying to God, okay, fine, I think I've had enough experiences. I have enough ways now to relate to people. Seriously, I remember saying that. I don't need any more. I've had enough. But that, I agree. That's just exactly. So we come in with the innate ability, and then the life things that we have, just not train it, but
Yeah,
develop it.
exactly. And that's why you were such a good chaplain. That's why you were so good at your job.
Right.
Because you had that compassion because of all of the life experiences you had. I do want to let you know too, Nancy Gail, that you're scratchy. There's like some I don't know, feedback going on with your headphones. I can still hear you, but there's like
Somebody like I hear somebody has music or something.
Oh yeah, I have music playing.
Is it
I can
coming
put
from
that
there?
down.
This is scratchy.
Yes, when you talk, there's
When I touch them in my ears. Okay, thank you.
yeah. Well, I can go on to the next thing that
Linda, just before you move on,
Go
because
ahead.
it's really interesting, this conversation, because one of the things that, when you were talking about that piece, how we develop these kind of patterns, these traits to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves safe, etc. And as someone that, and you and I had this conversation in recent years where I only really in recent years fully understood that that I'm highly sensitive, etc., and empath. And obviously when I was a lot younger, I got no idea about this. And my mother would say to me many, many times over, oh, you're just too sensitive. And looking back, I can remember using some of that sensitivity as a way to try and keep myself safe. But the flip side almost of that was I actually almost became like paranoid. It developed like a paranoia in me because I became so highly sensitive that I actually couldn't determine what was actually, for want of a better way of saying it, real and what wasn't. And that in itself created probably even more trauma. And fortunately, obviously, because over the years I began, I understood that and I could recognize and bring myself back to a place of calm. And I guess it's it's when we have these gifts, these abilities, it's being able to, with those gifts and abilities, be able to move into the right mind with them, to assist us to then be in that flow of love and to recognize, or for me to recognize when what I'm actually feeling is probably what actually is happening, or maybe it is in terms of some, recognizing what somebody else might need. But that in itself then also brings up at times can bring up a lot of self-doubt. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, this. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can relate to that too, Penelope, where it's like, I feel like part of the anxiety that I have experienced throughout my life is because of my high level of sensitivity and empathic abilities, because it also, before I understood a little more about this, like I could be feeling sad and not know why I was feeling sad. And now I know that sometimes it's not about me. Sometimes I'm feeling the sadness from somebody around me, or sometimes I'm feeling the sadness because of something that has happened in the world, or sometimes I'm having challenges sleeping because, full moon is coming, or like there's so many different, we're all energy. And so we can be affected by all of these energetic things. And I feel like that is one of the big reasons why Jesus is constantly telling us not to take things so seriously, to be a happy learner. Because when I can have the emotion, allow myself to feel the emotion, and even if I feel like there's a part of the emotion that is a result of something that is happening in my own little world, I can also realize that it's not just what I'm feeling, that it's compounded by other people that are having that same emotion. And not knowing that until more recently, I feel is a part of the anxiety that I've experienced in my life. I'd had a little bit of it this last week, because I went to an event. I went to a weekend getaway with some women that I haven't been with since before the pandemic. And I also don't do a lot outside my house. I don't see a lot of people outside of my Zoom meetings. It's getting to be more and more, but since the pandemic, and I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this too, there's a level of isolation that has happened. And so I was glad to be getting to join these women for the weekend, but I was also anxious because I just haven't been peopling a lot. And so I was concerned about the peopling aspect of it. Like, I'm so used to being able to have time where it's quiet and I don't have to talk to anybody if I don't feel like it. And I feel like I had, this weekend was kind of so there was a little anxiety coming up to the weekend. And I feel like this weekend also was a part of preparation for when we go to Oregon to attend my husband's niece's wedding. Because where we were staying was at Chautauqua Institute, and there's a beautiful lake, Chautauqua Lake, that looks the porch on this building that we stayed in, it was the old Studebaker house, looks on the lake. And Saturday morning when I got up, there was this dense fog over the lake. And so you couldn't hardly see anything. And so I took my coffee and I went out and sat on the porch all bundled up. And one of the women who I had just met the night before for the first time was like, "Oh, if you're going out to the porch, I will join you." And the whole time we were out there, she did not stop talking. And I'm like, my intention when I went out there was I'm going to have this, peaceful, calm experience of just watching the fog burn off with the sun coming up. And, they have a lot of ducks and there's a couple of herons that fly in, and, just enjoying nature and the breeze and all of that. And she didn't stop talking the entire time. And I'm like, okay, so this is happening and it's not a horrible thing. It's not what I expected. It was not what my intention was going out there, but it wasn't horrible, And so I feel like that was a really good test for me, because when we're in Oregon, there's going to be 3 people staying with us that I don't know very well. One of them is one of my nieces, Rudy's niece, that I haven't seen in like 15 years. And she hasn't really kept in touch with any of the family. So, and her new husband and her husband.
Where in Oregon are you going?
We're going to be staying in Wilcox. They live in Rainier. So, just across the Columbia River from Washington. So, yeah. So I thought, all of this, this awareness that we are getting to gather through doing these readings and reading all of these teachings in this new book that we haven't read yet, and getting to talk about it is so helpful, because I get to have these experiences without judging myself, without judging the other people, and appreciate them for what they're teaching me.
You know what you just said was what I've been thinking while you were talking. It's like underlying this whole, like for me in my life, I never got to express like, I'm hurt. I feel this. I feel this. I had no one to tell that to. No one. So that's what the thing when the chaplain thing was, what did they need to know? I knew that it's like, just listen. Like when the pastor said, just listen. I said, and that's like says whatever you want or what do you need, give that. That's it. So that's what I gave that. The same with my students. I did that. That's what I
Yes.
gave them, the respect, the attention, just like, and what did I get back? It's like for a lifetime and come to this community. I just needed to be heard. Do you know what, Amy? Well, last week we went to the doctor. Last doctor, not this whole series. He's wonderful. His name is Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. I just love him. He's so intelligent. Oh my gosh. And afterward, and I started asking me, well, how is it? I said, how much time do I have? He said, whatever you need. Whoa. But anyways, so on the way home in the car, Amy says, did you feel heard, Mom? I said, yes, Amy. But the thing is, underneath, like when I never, all these experiences that happened, even just skinning my knee or something, whatever, any of those, I never got to express how I felt.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you just said it. You just said it.
Yeah. So now we're heard and we're seen, because especially in this community, because I feel like so many people that come to this community and pretty much other and any and all spiritual communities, the people that are seeking the truth and, you know, wishing to be more loving in this world, a lot of us are empathic. A lot of us don't know even what that means. A lot of us didn't realize what a gift it is because we were only experiencing the burdens of it and the challenges of it. And now we get to see what the benefits are and how we can use it to heal our own lives, and then to, you know, move out into the world to help others. We're learning.
Yeah, it's like what was it, yesterday or Sunday? Something. It's like whatever the thing we were talk was in yesterday or Sunday. Um, Jennifer said something. Whatever she was saying, and I made a comment. Just from I forget what the part of the conversation. Um, it was similar to the same topic. Were we doing to survival? What about it? Whatever. And I said comments. People that make comments. Well, we're too sensitive. You're too sensitive. Are the question. Well, who do you think you are? And Jennifer says, and I said, oh, I said if I knew when I was a child what I know, I said I wish somebody would tell our children, you know, when somebody said that to you, I'm a child of God.
Yes.
And Jennifer says, yes, I'm. She had just made it a little bit stronger. It was so cute. It's like, yeah, I wish I didn't know that when I was a kid, and I could say, well, I'm a child of God. I'm God's child.
Yeah. Yep. We are powerful beings, more powerful than we realize. Well, I thought it was really interesting, the in the very last sentence of this section, and I was having a hard time following it. I have to say, this was not an easy read this week. So, but I do feel like I got as much out of it as I was supposed to. The last sentence, which is in paragraph 22, it also follows that whatever you produce is real in your own eyes, but not necessarily in the sight of God. And I feel like that's what we've been talking about as well. And then in 52 and 52, oh, in the last sentence of paragraph 21, he says destructive behavior is instinctual. The instinct for creation is not obliteration and miscreation. That is why it is always invested with reality. And then the note in 152 from the sentence before that, where he says, in other words, anxiety is actually the result of the power of miscreation. By emphasizing only this result, Freud inappropriately de-emphasized the power that generates that result. Excuse me. I feel like that's what Carla was talking about with her experience going to the ATM, and also with her experience in the car. Like you could have just let that both of those experiences allow you to have an experience that you didn't want to have. But you were like, no, how would I like to feel? What would I like to experience? And while allowing yourself to have the thoughts that you were having first, and then, you know, like allowing those thoughts to come to completion so that you could be back in your right mind And then the car started. And then the ATM worked perfectly and you were able to get to your meeting on time. Like, we have that power to do that. The same with, the anxiety that I was feeling before I went away this weekend. I could have just allowed myself to let that anxiety either stop me from going or keep me so frightened and tense in my body and in my thoughts and in my mind that I wouldn't have enjoyed it. And that experience on the porch with the woman who didn't stop talking the entire time could have been completely different, because I could have been just sitting there judging her the entire time and making both of us miserable. So we are powerful beings beyond what we know. Good to see you, Kathy.
Good to be here. I'm sorry, it's been kind of a broken up day. Hi, Nancy and Carla and Linda. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are discussing some difficult things. I relating about, I call it give God a chance. That's what I always say. Give God a chance. Wherever you are, whatever. I have fun with sometimes games with God, things that are not important, playful, like I don't care if I get a good parking space or not. I walk well. I don't have a problem. But I play a game about, well, you got a good one for me, I'd like it,
Yeah.
and I give it a chance. I give it a little more than a short look. And, oh, well, let's go to even a closer roll. Let's not just settle for this, And it's just like a fun, I think doing things in a playful way, like a little bit like the thing about the car starting or not, it's like, for a while, God was playing with me about lost objects, and it was very sweet. It was like before I had a real strong reliance or trust, and he was doing this thing of really just showing up about finding lost objects, a ticket you lost in a big parking garage, or just all kinds of things, And I got, so I would chat about it. But one of the chatting parts was I would say, it's okay if I never find it. I don't have to have it. But, at one time I went back the third time to a grocery store. I said it was 9 o'clock at night now. And I said, yeah, it's okay. You might have been keeping me from finding it because you want me to meet a special person, or you wanted to make the timing just right. So, I'm gonna go in again just in case, just to chat, And then yeah, my credit card was setting up in the carrots beside the green beans on display in the middle, and I had lost it that morning. So I have no idea how that could be. And, but I've been delighted and happy about that for years now. It doesn't matter, fun.
Just a little game. I love that.
I love that. Thank you. That is so cool. Remember they all know my story about the book. Actually, it's right here now. That I was looking for when I moved, I have boxes of books, right? And I had moved, and the box, some of the boxes they're still on. They were on a pile behind me, my rocker, my recliner, and I kept looking for this book. It was one of the course, different version. I don't know, what was it? What did I say? 4 years? 4 years, right? So finally I asked God, I said, well, okay, where is it? Was it 5 minutes later? It's like, look in the box behind the chair, and it was in the top box, and it was the top book in that box. I had looked in there so many times and never saw it.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's happened so many times. Same thing. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kathy.
And it's just a game. It is.
Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe
Thanks, Carla.
created it. and I want to say something to Kathy, is like, you're remembering to laugh. That is beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for coming today, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you everybody for all your sharing today. It's been really beneficial, I feel. So I'm gonna wrap us up. So next week we will be doing section 12, the mastery of love. And I am anticipating that it will be an easier read than this last section. But I know that I've gotten a lot out of this. And so for me, it's starts on page 101 and goes through to the end of page 104. And so I'm going to read the insights from Pathways of Light for today's lesson, which is 156. I walk with God in perfect holiness. Who walks with me? God. I am perfectly safe. Who walks with me? God, whose holiness surrounds me. Surrounded by holiness, I must be holy, and all there is to see is holiness. Who walks with me? God, love. The source of all love is with me always. Lack of love is an impossibility when I remember who walks with me. I feel perfectly safe and wholly loved. I am at peace, for I lack nothing. I walk with strength because I walk with God. Nothing can threaten me because there is no strength but God's. I walk with certainty because the changelessness of God walks with me. There can be no doubt where change is impossible. In quiet serenity, I feel the light of God in me, and I see that light everywhere. No harm can come to me. Sin is impossible. Guilt is without cause and therefore does not exist. In the radiance of God's light, I see his light in all my brothers. My only true response to everyone and everything is love. That love I share with all that is. Nothing but love exists. As I remember this, I rest contented in the heart of God. I feel his blessing and I bless the world. I walk with God in perfect holiness. In this lesson, Jesus reminds me that the key to salvation is in stepping back. Stepping back means letting go of my ideas of being a separate identity, an individual separate from the rest. Stepping back means being willing to let go of the meaning I have given to everything in this world. Stepping back means being willing to remember that I am as God created me. I am still the idea of love in the mind of love. Ideas leave not their source. When I dream of a world of separate bodies, my true identity does not change. I remain at home in the mind of God. In the dream, I may experience many adventures in the world of separation and individuality, but I still remain in the mind of God in truth. Stepping back means being willing to accept the truth. Dreams are just that, dreams. They are really nothing and nowhere. Love remains as it was created. My job today is to practice stepping back, letting go of trying to be something I am not. As I let go of the dream, the light I am steps forward, and I am able to see there is nothing but the light. The light is everywhere. Love is everywhere. In quiet, let me step back today. Let me be willing to open to the truth. Let me remember I walk with God in perfect holiness. Everyone in the world is innocent. The truth about them is God. Ideas leave not their source. God is one. All that is real is of God and in God. The false ideas fall away as I move to step back and let the truth in me come forward. And then I will see the truth is everywhere and in everything I see. I am a spiritual being created by God. This is my true identity. This being is just the way God intended it to be. God created me in love, from love to be love. This is my truth. I am not always consciously aware of this truth in my body life, but the truth doesn't change because I am not aware of it. I am holy because God, I was created that way. I can accept this and live in this confidence, regardless of what and how the world and this body appear at present. I need not change in any way the world and its appearance. I can only change my perception of it by being open to the holy perceptions of my true self. Today, I ask Holy Spirit to give me glimpses of holy perception so I may see that I walk with God in perfect holiness. Today, I ask for confirmation of my true identity. Today, I ask to be shown my oneness with God in fresh new ways. Today, I give myself to the Holy Spirit for a fresh new vision and healing. Walk with God. Let's do it. Thank you, everybody. I love you. See you next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye for now.
you.
Thank you.